Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Shawn Cones would have to admit to trafficking and force. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agrees.
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
What if everything you thought you knew about Shawn Diddy Combs was just the tip of the iceberg? Is he the mastermind behind a secret empire built on dark dealings, or a music legend targeted by a system out to make an example? Right now, Diddy's fighting for his freedom in a trial that's ripping his family apart and shaking the culture to its core. From raids that uncovered shocking evidence to whispers of betrayal by his own son, this story has it all: money, power, and secrets that could change how we see fame forever. Stick around, because what's coming next will leave you questioning everything.
Back up a little bit, please.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Before the headline screamed scandal, Diddy was untouchable. Born Shawn Combs in Harlem, he hustled his way from street corners to boardrooms, founding Bad Boy Entertainment in the 90s. His label launched icons like Notorious B.I.G. and Mary J. Blige, turning him into a kingmaker. By the 2000s, Diddy's empire spanned music, fashion, and liquor, with Ciroc vodka deals raking in millions. His all-white parties in the Hamptons and Miami, they were the stuff of legend, drawing Beyonce, Jay-Z, and tech titans. But behind the glitz, whispers grew, stories of wild nights, secret deals, and guests who left with more than just memories. Some called it harmless fun. Others, they saw shadows of something darker. And in March 2025, those shadows became impossible to ignore. But one raid changed everything.
I literally took one sip of my beverage and the whole side of my face felt like I had a stroke.
Isn't that, to my mind, that's one of the bigger hurdles in selecting a jury this coming week, is that there is, at least anecdotally, and, you know, when I talk to people, they have that opinion, strongly held opinion, that there's celebrity tapes, that they've kind of conflated Epstein, and you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and all of these things, into Diddy. There's this idea that somehow this is Epstein redux or something.
Armed agents stormed Diddy's mansions in LA and Miami, and what they found stunned the world. Homeland Security didn't just knock, they tore through his homes, seizing phones, laptops, and financial records. Prosecutors say they uncovered evidence of a trafficking ring tied to Diddy's infamous parties, spanning 2015 to 2022. Private jets, hush money transfers, and encrypted chats painted a picture of a coordinated operation, they claim, using Bad Boy Entertainment as a front. The indictment hit like a bomb, alleging Diddy moved people across state lines for illegal reasons. His team fired back, insisting these were just celebrity parties, nothing more. But the feds weren't buying it. They had devices with father-son conversations, flight logs, and more. And then, a bombshell no one saw coming.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent. So,
You think you know he's innocent?
1,000%.
Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. You know, maybe I can show the world that a black man can win, you know, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish that.
And when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
Could Diddy's own son bring him down? Christian Combs, the 27-year-old rapper known as King Combs, is reportedly working with prosecutors. Court files from May 2025 reveal a sealed memo detailing testimony from a family member, and insiders confirm it's Christian. They say he's got direct knowledge of private jets, guest lists, and money moves tied to Diddy's parties. Messages from an encrypted app allegedly show him organizing luxury flights for high-profile guests to all-white bashes in the Hamptons and yacht parties in Miami. Prosecutors believe this ties directly to the trafficking allegations. Christian hasn't been charged, but his cooperation could be a game changer. Former U.S. Attorney Mark Diaz calls family testimony incredibly powerful in cases like this. Diddy's team is furious, accusing the feds of twisting family ties to smear him, but the money trail told an even darker story.
Now, as far as jury selection goes, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that both sides expect to have all of this done in the matter of 3 days. Now, given just how high profile this trial is, I was kind of stunned that they seem very confident that they will be able to seat a jury in that amount of time.
What happens is if people go into a trial believing the firepower on the prosecution is so strong, I mean, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, it's a 95, that it's so strong, but it goes down to an 88. That helps the defense because everybody goes in thinking, wow, they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and all of a sudden, none of it's there. I think that actually helps the defense.
Millions flowed through secret accounts, but where did it go? Newly unsealed ledgers from May 2025 showed Diddy funneled $74 million through 17 shell companies between 2016 and 2023. Prosecutors say these LLCs, registered in places like Delaware and the British Virgin Islands, bankrolled private jets, luxury rentals, and security for high-risk events. Some invoices even have Christian's name, approving yacht rentals and catering costs. The feds claim this was no ordinary business. It was a system to dodge liability and fund illegal activities. Diddy's lawyer, Aaron Sussman, calls it nonsense, saying these were standard hospitality expenses. But then came another twist, a $900,000 transfer from Diddy's tequila brand to a dormant media company, allegedly used for a jet to the Bahamas. Was this just business or something sinister? Yet the courtroom drama was just heating up.
The last hearing before Shawn Cones' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
criminal.
criminal.
I know that.
In the criminal case. In the criminal case, no.
Facing decades in prison, Diddy said no to a deal. In court, he rejected a plea that would have capped his sentence at 12 years, insisting he's innocent. His legal team is ready to fight, arguing the feds are turning consensual adult relationships into crimes. They've slammed prosecutors for pressuring Christian and relying on witnesses chasing civil suit payouts. Lead attorney Aaron Sussman even asked the judge to review Christian's testimony before the trial, calling it a new low in celebrity cases. But Judge Subramanian isn't budging, and Diddy remains locked up without bail, deemed a flight risk due to his global ties. With jury selection starting May 12, 2025, the defense is banking on a neutral jury to see through what they call hyped up nonsense, but the world was already picking sides.
Back up a little bit, please.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Put your hands up.
At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes, as his lawyers argue the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
We have the latest from federal court in the Shawn Cones criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
First, the court has to decide whether Christians cooperate.
Is this justice or a witch hunt? The case has split the culture wide open. On one side, 50 Cent stirring the pot, posting court docs and claiming big names profited from Diddy's ventures. On X, hashtags like Dumb Protect King Combs clash with Black Wall of Silence, showing a divide over Christian's role. Some see him as a son caught in a brutal system, while others say he's got a duty to speak truth. Veteran journalist Danielle Harper put it bluntly, "We can't demand accountability, then shame the family member who steps up." Meanwhile, activists like Monsonique Reed argue the case could amplify survivors' voices, but only if it's not drowned out by celebrity drama. Others, like commentator Michael Harriot, see deeper distrust, comparing the Fed's tactics to historic abuses. And as the trial looms, one question remains.
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York ready to surrender to face these charges, but prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case. They urge the judge to remand him.
He knows the deck is stacked against him. They've got a ton of evidence. Take the plea deal, dude. Just take it.
Well, my guess is that, because we don't know the deal of the plea deal. At least I don't think we do.
True.
Okay.
Win or lose, Diddy's world may never recover. His businesses are reeling, liquor distributors are pausing orders, and Revolt TV's scrambling to distance itself. Streaming numbers for Bad Boy's catalog are spiking, but it's a double-edged sword, tying the music to scandal. Inside Combs Enterprises, execs are eyeing asset sales, and employees face potential furloughs. Christian's keeping a low profile, pausing his tour to focus on music and legal talks. If he takes the stand, his testimony could confirm damning details or spark sympathy for a son under pressure. The trial's set to be a circus, with media overflow rooms and security rivaling Ghislaine Maxwell's case. Will Diddy beat the odds, or will his empire crumble? Here's why this story is far from over.
The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to exploit both women and men for decades.
Elaborate, sometimes days-long parties by coercing victims through drugs, threats, and manipulation. They claim to have video evidence, and some of the accusations echo details from over 70 civil lawsuits filed against Combs over the last 30 years.
Major developments tonight involving the case against Shawn Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Shawn Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted.
Federal trafficking, racketeering, and charges beginning Monday morning.
Music mogul Shawn Diddy Combs back behind bars, a magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. The judge saying, "My concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors."
From a mogul who redefined music to a man fighting for his name, Diddy's story is a wildfire no one can look away from. Raids, family ties, and secret millions have turned his legacy into a battleground. As Christian Combs prepares to face the stand and a jury decides Diddy's fate, the world's left wondering, will this trial rewrite the rules of fame or prove no one's above the law? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happens next? Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video because this drama's only getting bigger. See you in the next one.